Hey, what's up all you do-it-yourselfers? My name's Dylan Taylor and this is Dylan's DIY Workshop. Today I'm going to be going over what kind of wood is best for wood burning. Pine, we have white oak, cherry, hard maple, fir, cedar, poplar, basswood, black walnut, beechwood, ash, butternut, red oak, and lastly, soft maple. So all of these woods are just a little bit different, and these small pieces aren't the best representation of what they look like, but these are all different kinds of wood and they're all safe for wood burning on, so I will just do the same kind of thing to each one of them to let you guys know which one is possibly the best for you guys. Now let's go with what should be the cheapest. Poplar's going to be fairly cheap, your pine's going to be really cheap, so your poplar and your pine are going to be cheap. Sometimes you can get fir kind of cheap, so those are going to be your three cheapest ones. Walnut's going to be on the most expensive side. Walnut along with your butternut is more expensive, and your red oak is kind of expensive. Basswood is cheap-ish. Cherry's right around there too. Your cheapest over here. And then your maples, your beech, your oak, and your cedar, and your other oaks, and those are all kind of in the middle range too. If you're gonna do this, you're probably gonna end up with these three kinds of wood anyways, and these are hardware store wood, so you got fir, poplar, and pine. If you have a sawmill near you, I would 100% suggest cherry. That is my absolute favorite wood to wood burn on. Now, a lot of these I actually have never wood burned on, so this will be an experiment for me as well. So here we go. I will do the same thing to each one of them with this soldering iron style wood burner, but for those of you who already have the more advanced pen style wood burner, skip ahead in the video to that. I should have a little time card somewhere over here. I'll just say skip to that, because I'll be doing a test with that as well. But I figured a lot of people are going to have this wood burner and want to know, so I will be using this first. I'm going to be doing a thin line, a thick line, a curved line, and try to shade with each one of the wood burners. So we will start out in no particular order. We will just use the wood burner. I'll set all these aside and we will just go for it. I'll start off with this fir. Got this wood burner heated up pretty well. Pick the side that you want and prepare the wood for the wood burning in the same way that I showed you guys in my other video. If you want to check that out, I should have a card up here. Take a little razor blade like this, and once you have it sanded, just give it a nice little scrape. And it'll be nice and smooth for you to work with. So thin line, thick line, curved line, and shade. So this is what I've come up with. That's hardest to burn to easiest to burn, and I will go over them right now. So starting with the hardest and the ones that you don't want to wood burn, we've got the oaks. White oak is by far the hardest, and reasons for that, and I've wrote all of these down, so I'll go over it really quick. So it's difficult to burn consistently due to all the little pores in there, and the wood burner seems to skip and skate over top of the surface because of that. And it's just not good, so no. I wouldn't wood burn on that. I have in the past, but I haven't liked it. And it's basically the exact same with the red oak. It's just a little bit easier to use, but it's still not that great. Then moving down the line to a little bit easier, but still terrible, is cedar. And that is because it's got some really soft parts in the grain, and so it'll dig in really deep there, and it'll catch your wood burner, and it'll be hard to move on, and you move on, and you skip over that, and it's fairly hard to shade. Moving on, we've got another piece of cedar. This one's darker. The exact same thing going on here. This one was a little bit easier to burn on, but had the same issues. Now we've got the fir here. and it was very sappy, and I think I explained that earlier. Very sappy, and it had the same issues as the cedar. It had some soft spots that would grab onto the bit, which is not what you want. Moving on to a little bit easier, we've got ash, and it's got some of the same issues that oak has, in the sense that it's got some really hard areas and it skips over, but it is really hard to get it smooth. Plus it's got all these pores in there that just aren't the best for wood burning. Moving on, a little bit easier, we have beech. And beech, let's see here, it's hard to shade for sure, and it's hard to get smooth because it has this tendency to chip out, has some very sharp lines, and some good contrast. Then butternut. Butternut is very soft, and it's super easy to get a nice line on. It's easy to burn and good sharp lines and moderate shadeability. Then we've got soft maple, which is something where you have to burn slow to get it to look right. You can have some decent sharp lines, some good contrast, and it's very easy to shade. Then one which I talked about earlier, which is the poplar. Kind of difficult to shade, it burns fast, and you get some sharp edges. That's poplar. Then moving on to walnut, which gives you some very nice contrast here, some super dark sharp lines. We've got, it's easy to burn, moderate shadeability because there's not that much you can really do to it. You get going too light and it just looks like the wood itself. Sharp lines, and you've got the good contrast. Then hard maple. We're getting into, this is the fourth easiest wood to work with, and you've got some really sharp lines, super easy to shade, and it's super smooth, easy to get smooth, easy to work with, and very easy to find. And we move on a bit more to basswood, which you can get at sawmills. Now, this wood burns insanely fast. You see how I did 2 of every line because I just wanted to see how fast I could burn it. And almost as fast as you could just pull this wood burner across the piece. I'll do it on the back here. Almost as fast as you can pull it across the piece, it makes a line. And a fairly dark line at that. And if you want to make it even darker, you go just a bit slower, and it, yeah. So anyways, it burns super fast. It burns very dark if you want it to, and it's very hard to shade. And it's super soft. Like I can dig my fingernail in there. You can see what I just did there and there. So super soft. You wouldn't want to use that for anything that's going to be taking a beating. Then moving on to one of my absolute favorites, cherry, which produces a sharp line, good contrast. It's easy to make curves and has really great shadeability, and it's super smooth, easy to find, easy to work with. That's my top suggestion. Then we've got pine, which is the absolute easiest to find out of any of these woods here. It burns a fairly decent contrast there. It's got sharp line ability, kind of. You have to be careful if you want it to be a sharp line, and it's not that sappy compared to the fir. It still is a little bit sappy, and it's fairly easy to shade. So I would suggest pine for anyone who's just getting into this. So these are the woods in ease of use for the wood burners. I'm going to be using the razor tip wood burner. I'm going to save that for another video because this one's gotten long enough. So I will save that for a video that'll come out in the next few days because I'm doing the Almost Impossible challenge put on by Hobbies Woodshop. Basically, for a solder style wood burner like that one there that I've been using, the best wood to use and easiest wood to use is pine. That's because it's easiest to get. Now, if you can afford it and you can find it, cherry is better than that. Basswood is hard to find, but it's easy to burn on. Hard maple is a little bit more expensive and harder to find, but very nice to wood burn on. Your walnut is pretty decent at wood burning on, too expensive to be using. Poplar is pretty good for wood burning, and you could get it fairly cheap at your home centers. So those would be the 6 woods that I would recommend. Other than that, the other woods I talked about aren't really that great. Needless to say, you can wood burn on any of those. Those are all safe to wood burn on, and if it's the wood that you use for the project, take your time. The longer you take, the lighter you touch the wood burner to the wood, the more control you'll have. These 6 woods over here that I just talked about, you can wood burn them fairly quickly and still get a nice burning. So that's going to be it for this video. I suggest pine or cherry if you can get them. Pine, cherry, maple, and poplar. are probably your best bet. You can get most of those from the basic sawmill, even maybe a hardware store or a wood supply. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this. If you're new, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please share this video with a friend. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, give it a big old thumbs up. And don't forget to check out my Etsy page. It's right over here on the page. It's a peanut, a mustached peanut. Click on that, alright? See you guys.